Hello everyone and welcome back to the Belgian Beer Builders channel. Cedric here in Antwerp with yet another brew review. And today we are going again back to the neighborhood surrounding Brussels. We are going to talk about a beer by Brasserie Surrealiste. And if I'm not mistaken, we have talked about this brewery once before on this channel, but I think it has been years. I think this was in the very first or second, I think the very first advent calendar by Brussels Beer Project. So, yeah, long overdue. And if you see this can, you might imagine why I bought this. First off, this reminded me of a 90s Vogue cover or a late 80s, early 90s Madonna video clip, music video. So I was intrigued, and normally I'm not a big fan at being a photographer because I have been a concert photographer for over 10 years. Normally I am not a big fan of black and gray photographs with one color element. We often see like the black and gray photos with the red rose or the red umbrella, for example, or the red lips, or in this case blue. But in this case it actually works, and even though this blue and the purple and green are very dissonant, it works. So yeah, quite nice, very grungy, and I've always loved grunge. Now, what is this beer? This is Venus Effect, and Venus Effect is a Gose, and Gose is a style that I think we haven't talked about on this channel yet. This is a very old style. I'll make a video, a separate video about the style as a whole. But Gose is basically a German style, a specific style that uses high mineral water, and I'm dumbing this down, I know. Don't come at me in the comments, please, or do. But Gose is best known for being salty, savory. So, and I think that after the Gose craze and the IPA craze and now the Saison revival, Gose might be our next fad. And I have nothing against that. Now, I already talked about the look of this can. Now let's read the can. Yeah, Brasserie Surrealiste in Bruxelles. So it's from Brussels. Ingredients: water, barley, wheat, hops, and yeast. Again, quite simple. Venus Effect 4.5% ABV, which is nice. Gose oftentimes is rather on the light side. Again, I can only support that. Unfiltered, unpasteurized, natural beer. Drink fresh, do not age. And they have this small explanation here. Tasting like tasting like a refreshing kiss from a goddess' lips, and with a subtly salty finish. So probably a sweaty goddess. Venus Effect is a richly aromatic Gose style sour ale. Okay, a Gose sour, so sour and salty. Dry hopped with Eldorado and Chinook. So that is a modern and a classic hop. Both relatively bitter, slightly dry. So I have high hopes for this beer. This sounds actually quite good. So sour, savory, salty, dry, and slightly bitter. Yes, please. Let's have a look. Oh, wow. I expected a pale beer, but I absolutely did not expect this pale. Also, it says unfiltered, unpasteurized. This is very clear to be unfiltered. But let's believe him. Yeah, extremely pale yellow, on the very, very light side. Nice white foam, medium density bubbles, mixed density bubbles actually. I do have some purling, some bubbling going on, so it is relatively carbonated, and that's where we get the haze. There we go. And that is why I always give a brewer the benefit of the doubt, because these glasses, they hold 33 centiliters, but as you see, there's not a lot of headspace for the foam. Actually, I'm thinking of printing my own glasses later this year. Let me know what you guys think about that. But nonetheless, 33 centiliters, not too much headspace, and that leaves oftentimes some yeast, some residue in the can. And since I was pouring very conservatively and very cautious, we had very, very clear beer. But now, this is a completely different thing. This is what I expected. A hazy, well, still paler than I thought, but a hazy, pale yellow beer. Oh, very, very interesting aroma. Oh, funny thing is that the first thing that I smell is lemon, basically. It doesn't say fruit or lemon on the ingredients list, but nonetheless, yeah, it's a sour. So this might be lemon, like citric acid. Also, it's like a lactacid, which also has a distinct scent. And this, these minerals in the water, very, very present. It even smells a bit salty. Okay, I was just checking for iron here, because sometimes in this high mineral water it also holds a bit of iron, so it smells a bit rusty, which was not the case, and you emphasize this by tapping a bit on your skin, but confirmed, no iron, no rust. Okay, great. Ever so slightly hoppy, so a tiny amount of bitterness is in that scent. Now, bitter sounds so harsh. In Spanish they say amargo, which is more subtle, which is smoother, but... And of course, because this is a sour, we could expect that the foam dissipated very quickly. Okay, let's wait no longer. Let's have a taste. Cheers. Ooh. Oh wow. A very interesting profile. Very intriguing. At very first glance, bitter and sour. So this could be like a heavily hopped or dry hopped kettle sour, for example. But then all the other flavors kick in. So once it rolls over the tongue, every zone, and I know taste zones are a myth, but nonetheless, every zone is activated. We get what we used to call a cyanide smile, which is like that. so the acidity is working the glands, which makes the corners of your mouth retract a bit. At the same time, that saltiness really comes in, and I like. I'm not a fan of salt. When I was a chef, I used to cook with the least amount of salt possible. But salt is very interesting as a flavor to provide contrast. Think about salted caramel, think about salty chocolate, for example. So sweet and salt works, but sour and salt also works very well. And that is what Brasserie Surrealiste understood very well. But at the same time, we also get these hops working. Now, I'm not that familiar with El Dorado, so if it wasn't on the can, I would never have guessed. But Chinook is a classic American bitter or combination hop, let's say. And I think that is a very good choice for a beer like this. So we already have those 3 out of 4 flavors. We have sour, we have salty, we have bitter, dry, let's say. And of course, I'm not gonna say we miss the sweetness, because that would probably be misplaced here. I could say umami, but yeah, we already have these 3. Although it would be possible, umami stands for savory, so it's kind of in there. And the aftertaste is also very, very interesting. As usual, it is way smoother, but in the aftertaste I mainly get a tiny hint of the saltiness and mainly, yeah, the acidity. And for me, this is a fight between citric acid and lactic acid, which are 2 very pleasant flavors in beer, in other foodstuffs. So very nice. Also, one thing that I forgot to mention is, apart from the acidity, this beer is rather thin, but still has a very pleasant mouthfeel, and I attribute that to the very fine bubbles. The effervescence is very, it's sparkly, but it is very tiny, like one would get with a champagne yeast, for example. So yeah, I think this is a great apéro beer. Of course, it's a bit much for an aperitif, but if you get one of these cans and divide it between 2 or 3 people even, perfect aperitif, to get those stomach juices flowing, to get people hungry, to get people excited for their meal. So yeah, absolutely love it. And I think a beer like this, a Gose sour mixture, is also perfect to work in, for example, cocktails. This is gonna be a very hard one to score, and I'm gonna say 375. Because even though Gose and Gose don't have anything to do with each other, this combination of Gose sour reminds me of some young or old Gose, some lambic blends, which is an art in itself. So yeah, 375. Okay, I'm gonna enjoy this a bit further. If you guys liked this video, if you guys want to try this beer, yeah, be on the lookout. If you want to support this channel, take a look at my Patreon page or share a video. If you want to see more, I upload kind of weekly when I get the chance, and I do have playlists sorted out in countries, in styles, in breweries, so you will probably find whatever you like. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. Cheers.